All right. Okay. So do you want to introduce yourselves? Tell me your name.
All right, so I'm Sundial. My real name is Deb.
Okay.
And I am FIIK. My real name is Dan, or Dan E. to my friends.
Okay. All right. And then tell me, like, what is your, like, what are you doing here? We are right now in a hostel. We're in Damascus, Virginia.
Oh, we're in a B, no B.
Oh,
Yes.
B, no B. That's right.
right.
Not a
Yes.
hostel.
Yes.
Yes.
This is
Thank
an
you for that
upgraded
clarification.
hostel, for sure.
Okay. B, no B.
That was Elizabeth saying that. I was saying that's pretty funny.
Okay. And so we're here on the Appalachian Trail. And I know that I've just finished mile 470, but you guys are section hiking. Tell me, what is section hiking? What is that?
So we do anything from a short section, which could be a 3-day, long weekend, or we on this one we're out for 2 weeks. So we go out 2 weeks in May, and we go out 2 weeks in September, and we'll get 180 miles.
Oh, wow. That's legit.
Yep. So we leave our car somewhere, we get shuttled away from it, the logistics of setting up the shuttle, and then we hike back and hope all goes well.
Yeah.
And so when we finish this section, like yesterday, we crossed the Tennessee line, so that was state number 10.
Woohoo! That's amazing.
And when we finish this section, Virginia will be done, and we'll have 11 states done, and we'll be all the way up to Vermont.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so how many years is it taking? Eventually, you're going to be accumulating the whole trail.
So we started in 2011.
Yeah.
But at that time we were racing, right? The Ironman, as you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we would do a weekend, basically a year. So we might get 60 miles a year. And at that time, we thought we would continue racing forever.
Yeah.
So I used to make the joke, we'll finish the trail when I'm 90 years old.
Right. Right.
But with the pandemic, when everything shut down in 2020, we started picking up more hiking, right? So then we started doing 11-day sections, one in the fall, one in the spring, and we started getting 400 or 500 miles a year instead of 60 miles a year.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Okay. And so how do you do this? Like so this is your fun part of who you are, but who are you when you're at home and you're not section hiking?
Stressed out.
That's it.
Okay. Tell me more, because I think this is like honest.
So I work for
Yeah.
a very large defense contractor, and they call me a chief engineering manager, but I manage people and I manage programs.
Okay.
And it's just stressful. I mean, it is, they try to give you work-life balance, but depending on your personality, they'll consume you as much as you allow them to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I allow them to consume me. Right?
Yeah.
So getting away from that and getting on this trail is a huge stress relief for me.
Stop the momentum.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And, stepping away, nobody can get in touch with you here, so it's just a great peace of mind just to be out and away.
Yeah. Yeah. How about yourself?
So I'm a physical therapist, and I would say largely really like my job. I work with athletes and runners because that's my world. I finally have had 2 AT hikers now. I'm like,
Oh my
now
gosh!
we can talk.
Yeah.
This is cool. Yeah. And I work more of a normal 8 to 5 job, and then I'm also a high school basketball coach.
Oh, are you? That's
I
so
am.
cool.
So in February to March, November to March, I work the same crazy hours that he does, like the 12 or 13 hour days, because I go from my PT job, which is full time, to my coaching job. So I get home at 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
But then when the basketball season's over, we do some stuff in the off season.
Oh.
But now I do have more, normal work-life balance, so I'm not nearly as stressed out as he is.
Yeah.
And I have 2 fun jobs, so if I work a 13-hour day, it's not in one place. I'm going from, people I'm trying to help, and the huge benefit of trying to help somebody, to coaching kids, which quite honestly kind of keeps you young and aware and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So when let's do a quick kiss on Ironman too, because this is not, section hiking is not just what you do. You also do Ironman. You mentioned it, but kind of define what is an Ironman and like.
Are we asking you? That's hilarious. We know a lot of the same people. All right, so to answer the question, right, Ironman is a triathlon, and we started years ago with like a local sprint triathlon, which is sort of the small distance just to see, you know. And I remember literally when somebody said to me, "Have you been bit by the Ironman bug?" And I said, "Oh hell no, this is one and done." And then I go back to what I'm doing.
Famous last words.
Exactly. And that's how a lot of us, right? We all get sucked in, and it was an Iron Girl, so it was all female, and he came and watched, and we were both like, "Oh damn, that was really cool." And so over the years, that turned into longer distances, a lot of marathon racing, Boston 7 times, I think.
Oh,
Ironman,
good for you. That's great.
Ironman 7 times. And then, you know, it becomes, as you know, it becomes just a way of life. It's who all your friends are. It's not that impressive because everybody's doing an Ironman in your world. So it's really no big deal. But it's a lifestyle, it's consuming, it's all the things. And it was great for when it was great, right? Until you get a little burnout, and when, just kind of like hiking the trail, when you lose your why, it's awfully hard to push yourself out in the rain on the bike ride, or up at 5 o'clock to get the swim in, or any of the things that you got to do to be successful. If the passion isn't there, it's hard to do, right?
Yeah.
And the pandemic allowed us to finally step back and go, well, we can't race, so let's go pursue this hiking on the AT. And then we found our why with hiking. And we had, at that point, almost the courage to leave Ironman, because again, that's how you were defined, right? That's how your friends knew you as that. Like, what do you mean you're not going to come back to racing?
Social structure.
Yep. And we look at, now that all the races are back, we'll look at the posts, we'll see the, you know, best race ever on Monday morning, and we'll go, do you have FOMO? Nope. Do you have FOMO? Nope.
No mo FOMO.
No.
My friend and I do the same thing.
Right?
So look at an Ironman. An Ironman typically takes about 7 months to train, get prepared. You know, you do the shorter races, then you have your big day. And it's not about the big day, it's about that journey.
It's about the journey,
right?
yeah.
Which is what you're doing with the trail.
Yeah.
So taking that journey, then having that huge moment, and then the depression kind of.
Yes,
right?
that's
Afterwards.
true. Yeah.
So that's kind of like the way it is on the trail. And I can see a lot of thru hikers going through the same thing, and the people we've met along the way, they get done, and then they don't have that anymore.
And now what?
You know, right? What are you going to do?
You can't, well, a lot of people go and do
The next
triple
trip.
crown.
The next trip, right.
Yeah.
Now for us with section hiking, it's kind of like racing, right? You get that again and again and again. So we always got that next thing to look forward to until this trail is done, and then you
Pace
got
it
to go
out.
do a different
Yeah,
trail.
you'll have to come up with something new. But I think there's a lot of courage though in reinventing yourself, and you're not just reinventing yourself. You're reinventing yourself and not allowing your work to invent you. And I think that's the $64 million question. Is there's a vortex, like especially you're talking about this vortex at work and this stressful job, and how you have to have very clear boundaries. Can you talk to me about how, like, setting those boundaries, and like what are some of those tricks that you've used to define clear boundaries? Oh,
Curious.
I don't know that I did. I have to let you get away from work.
Yeah.
And the first couple of days I'm on the trail, I'm still thinking about work.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to solve a problem. Right?
Uh-huh.
I walked away from a problem. It's hard to leave. She's waiting for me to get on the trail.
Engineer, problem solving. I
And
love
so
it. Yeah.
Get to the trail, and I'm walking along. She's like, "You're trying to solve a problem, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, what are you doing? Planning your basketball camp?" Right? So,
Nope, I was enjoying the trail.
but it takes a while. It really does, and I really don't know how to let it. I let it separate itself, I guess. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to let my mind get away from it. Once it's away from it for a few days, then I don't think about it till. And she knows it, right? A couple days from now, when we're about to leave, I go quiet again, because now I'm thinking about every email I have to go answer, and every problem that still needs to be solved, and just how stressful it's going to be when I get back.
Right. But you have the courage to not to walk away, even for the 2 weeks at a time that you're talking about. Yeah.
But not the courage to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. Which which would just be wonderful if we could get away from that.
Well, we talked about, financial obligations, and let's kind of touch on that. You said that you have a 24-year-old that's still living at home and all those other things. So tell me about that part of your structure that keeps you in the job, keeps you earning money, because just quitting your job, that's not realistic. That's right. It's just not realistic. I mean, it's a choice that I made that is crazy, but I'm not asking people to do the same thing. That's just not realistic.
Yeah. I mean, we're 57, so we talk about retirement, but we're obviously not quite there. And we're a second marriage with a blended family. And so we have all the normal financial obligations.
Yeah.
But then, my son is 24, hasn't quite started yet, so he's still at home, and he's employed, but we're helping him. And then his daughter is with somebody that we think she'll get married to, and so there's going to be that obligation. And then his son got married a year and a half ago, so there was that. And then they have a baby, and now they have a second baby. We just found out on trail that they're pregnant again, and they're not.
We have grandbabies. They don't have babies.
It should feel like that. But financially, they're not in a situation where they can survive without our help also, right? So there's all the normal bills.